So the Philistine said to David, am I a dog that you are going, you come to me with sticks? And the Philistine cursed David by his goats, by his gods, excuse me. And the Philistine said to David, come to me, and I will give you the flesh to your flesh to the birds of the air and to the beasts of the field. Then David said to the Philistine, you come to me with sword, with spear of the field, with spear and with javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of the hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hand, and I will strike you and take your head from you. And this day I will give the carcasses of the camp of the Philistines to the birds of the air. And this day the birds of the air and the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. Then all of this assembly shall know that the Lord does not save with sword or spear, for the battle is the Lord, and he will give unto us you into our hands. So it was, when the Philistine arose and came and drew near to meet David, that David hurried and ran towards the army to meet the Philistine. Then David put in his hand and his bag and took out a stone, and he slung it and struck the Philistine in his forehead, so that the stone sunk into his forehead, and he fell. He fell on his face to the earth. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and a stone, and struck the Philistine and killed him. But there was no sword in the hand of David. Therefore David ran and stood over the Philistine, took his sword and drew it out of his slough, and killed him. And out he cut off his head. And when the Philistines saw that their champion was dead, they fled. Father, I thank you, and I thank you for the reading of your word. I thank you for the opportunity to minister to your people. God, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, God. Let it not go on deaf ear, God. If there's a need in the house, God, I ask that you fulfill it. Let it meet the needs of your people. Hide me behind your cross, God. That is not they that they see me, but it's you, the living God of Israel. We thank you, and it is in Jesus' name that I pray. The name of the message is called Bully Me No More. Many of us know David as the giant killer, the Goliath. We know him as Solomon's father. Solomon was the wisest man on earth, or was the wisest man to ever live before his time and after his time. We also know David as a sheep herder. He was protecting the sheep from lions and tigers, and I like to say, oh bears, oh my. So we know David as this heroic, triumphant individual within the Bible. But God began to deal with me when I started to really accept my transition on bullying. David was one individual that had been bullied before his assignment. And many times we don't really think of David as someone, because he's strong. We think of him as, when you fight a Goliath, when you fight somebody that's 9 feet tall, you got to be big, right? Big, I mean really big. So Goliath was 9 feet tall. Well, how tall are you? 4 feet? Okay. About a foot. Oh, Lord, I'm going to be short. Okay. So I'm only 5 feet. You're 4 feet. Goliath was 9 feet tall. That's taller than Shaq. Okay? Yeah. So to understand, to defeat someone like that, you have to have strength and you have to have tenacity. But this David, at some point in his life, was bullied. Okay? Now, do y'all know what a bully is? Somebody say what a bully is. What's a bully?
A bully?
Uh-huh.
So he cheats you wrong.
Okay. All right. Somebody else give me another definition. Chase says a bully is someone that treats you wrong. What's
They're mean.
They're mean. Anybody else? Go for it. You like, say something bad. Okay. Time's up. All right. So according to American psychology, this is the definition of a bully. Tajay and Chase were both on the point. A bully is someone who has a form of aggression in which someone intentionally or repeatedly caused another person injury or discomfort. A bully can also be characterized by an individual behaving in a certain way to gain power over another. So a bully is someone who basically represents power. They take control. So when we think of David in the sense of him slewing Goliath, then he had control. But by height, he didn't. By spirit, he did. So I want to just talk to you a little bit about David's bullies to understand why David was so triumphant in defeating Goliath. Some of David's bullies started back early when he was your age. David was in the field. He was tending to the sheep. He was the shepherd. So he was on his job. And on his job, he was being bullied by the lions, by the tigers, by the bears. His occupation caused him to be bullied. But he never ever lost sight of his assignment, which was to protect the sheep. So even when the lion, the bear, and it wasn't a tiger, but I like to keep saying the tiger, I'm reminded of the Wizard of Oz. The lion and the bear attacked his sheep. He knew it was his responsibility to confront the bully. Got it? All right, what's another bully? Another bully was David's brothers. David has 7 brothers above him. You got something to say, baby? I'm going to talk to you right after this, okay? Well, David's brothers was his bullies. His oldest brother, for instance, if you read up further in the passage, his brother, I believe his name is Eliab. He said, well, who did you leave those few sheep with? He said, who did you leave those few sheep with? As in, what you doing here? Why you ain't taking care of your little bit of job, your little bitty people, take care of your little friends? Why you got to be over here with us? He was with Eliab was with Saul's army. So as David was doing an assignment for his father said, go down, bring word of your brothers, here's some food for them, let me know how they're doing. Well, his brother said, what you doing here, bro? Why you here? Like, what's up? Why you messing with us? That was a bully. Because David was taking the responsibility. For instance, Christian come in and give you and Tajay kind of some food, and y'all say, why you here? What's the da-da-da-da? And he like, look, y'all, I just came because Dad told me to come. That sometimes can be offensive. Yeah. Am I correct? Or when I'll say about this, Indian. When India was young, and Brenda would tell India to go do something, India was in charge of the house. So anybody that came in my house and didn't do what I told them to do, I bullied them. Ask Ivan, he'll tell you. Okay? I bullied them. We had a Tashima, we had a Sheena, we had an Ivan, we had a Mike. I was older than all of them. So if they didn't do it the way I saw it, you ain't washed them dishes right, we ain't folded up the bed. Now y'all, I had to jump these rooms in the house. But I was ordering them around. I was being a bully. So David had to fight his family as a bully. He had to fight his occupation as a bully. But he still conquered his defeat, or he still conquered his bully. Then he went and said, well, who is this big old Philistine? Who is this big old giant that's trying to defy my Lord, my God against Israel? Who is he? Now, let's just go back a little bit. Saul is the king. He's the most powerful person on the planet at that particular time, all right? Now, just to give y'all a little geographical context for my younger kids, Jerusalem. Y'all heard of Jerusalem? That sounds familiar? Okay. So that's where, or Israel. Israel sound familiar? At the particular time, he was the king of Israel, okay? So Saul was denounced from God because he no longer had the heart of God because he was disobedient. You follow me? Follow me? So because Saul was disobedient, God no longer wanted him king, right? So there was a Goliath in his midst that he could not conquer anymore. So because he was strong, he used to, meaning Saul, he used to be able to go and conquer all of his battles. There was not a battle he couldn't win. Well, when he started to defy God, God said, you are no longer blessed. I'm taking my spirit from you. So this particular individual, Goliath, which was 9 feet tall, he could not kill him. So for 40 days, Goliath walked around the camps of Israel and basically taunted them. And the king said, well, I don't know what to do because I can't fight him. You know, he too big. I'm not strong enough. Well, this young boy, David, at the time, many theologians said he was 15 at the time. He went up and said, well, y'all can't fight him, but I can. And Saul looked at David like, what do you mean you can fight him? I can't destroy him. I have on all this armor. I'm wearing a helmet. I got a shield. I got a knife. I got on some boots. And I can't destroy him. What do you think you gonna go and destroy Goliath? And David said, man, I got this. I don't care. He said, because I remember that when I was on my job being bullied, God delivered me from a lion and a bear. So the same way he delivered me then, he'll deliver me now. All right, okay, all right, that's one more, that's all right, I'm going to keep going. So those were David's bullies, right? Goliath wasn't even David's bully. Who bully did I say he was? He was Saul's bully. But Goliath wasn't David's bully. He was Saul's bully. But because he had enough strength in God, enough confidence in God, David said, I'll take this bully on myself. All right? Y'all follow me, young people? Y'all got me? All right. So here's some of the reasons why David should never have fought in Goliath. In the natural. When you look at each other, when y'all look at me and I look at Pastor Shirley, here's some of the reasons why you shouldn't fight a giant. Because he's a giant, right? Goliath stood 9 feet tall. His weaponry outstood David alone. So if he put his helmet, his knife, his shield, and then the stuff that he put on his arm, his leg guards, that alone, not on Goliath, but if you lay it on the floor, was heavier than David. Okay? So David should not have fought in Goliath or even killed Goliath because of the things that Goliath had on was heavier than David. All right? So because of that, what they call his massive armor. So those were some of the things that David should have scared David, like, oh God, I can't beat this man because he's so stronger than me. God, just look what he got on. Like, really, God? Like, how many of y'all wear size 7? I wear size 7, right? So if a person is 9 feet, that means, how big y'all think his fit was? What you think? 17? I'll get time. Shaq is 7 feet, and Shaq wears size 22. Wow. So if he's 9 feet, how big do you think his feet were? Exactly. So I got a size 7, okay? This man probably wears a size 32. And I'm supposed to fight him? I don't think so. But what you have to understand is that when David said, you've got a sword and a spear, I come in the name of the Lord. He understood that the name of the Lord was stronger than anything Goliath had on. Not that God was stronger. He said the name of the Lord. See, just his name alone carried more weight than what Goliath had on. Sometimes you got to understand, I'm preaching to myself all the time, I'm really doing this as I'm preaching. You have to understand that just the name of it, when I think of the goodness, when I think of his name throws weight. So if his name throws weight, then all I got to do is just say, Jesus! And then every knee shall bow, right? Every Goliath, every bully, all I got to do is say, Jesus! That's it. Okay, all right. I said I was teaching. All right, so here's some of the tools you need to use when you're fighting your bully, when you're defeating your bully, when you're fighting your bully. One of the tools is memorization, okay? Please, if you could write this down, that would be great. Memorization. Remember past victories. No matter how big, no matter how small. Remember your past victories. Because in your past victories is where you will find strength. In your past victories is where you will see Jesus, where he came out for you, where he saved you, where you thought in the nick of time, you're like, oh God, thank you. I thought you was never going to show up. That's what you have to do. David remembered his past victory. How did he remember his past victories? He told Saul, when Saul said, how are you going to defeat Goliath? He said, when I was in the field, God delivered me from the bear and